Seriously, this next update is going to change Space Engineers for better. No, I'm not joking. Just from the previous teasers alone, and what we know from developer comments, the changes that are going to be introduced are going to allow for new gameplay mechanics. Let's look at the latest teaser released earlier this week. It shows a simple drill digger going to mine some ore. Using the new AI event controller, a cargo ship takes off from the back of the ship and heads back to the base to deposit the ore before returning and docking with the original drill rig. Simple, right? But how does this change gameplay? Well, a lot of Space Engineer survival is mining resources to make your giant battleships, bases, and random creations. During that mining process, you'll spend time typically returning to base, you'll deposit your ore, and begin the refinery process to get ingots for crafting. It's a rather tedious process if you're not a fan of this gameplay loop, but now you can automate it. Imagine going out mining and having this drone system fly back to the base to drop off the resources. See, it makes your life more accessible from the get-go, because then by the time you return to the base later on, all these ingots already refined, smelted, whatever, and you can crack on with building your big ship or whatever crazy contraption you're building. Given what is being previewed and released in teaser trailers, as well as developer comments about working on NPC and related technology, it looks like the next Space Engineers update will change certain gameplay aspects massively, specifically extending the automation process. We already have a fair few bits of automation in game, such as programmable scripts and blocks like that, such as the sensor block, but the level shown now is even more impressive than anything else. Keen Software House CEO Marek Rosa shared a preview of some new blocks a while back. Upon further inspection, there was some sort of new event controller block that could influence what the grid was doing. This small grid that Marek showed off was responding to specific actions. We couldn't fully identify the blocks on top of the grid as they're not fully shown off. The clip's on screen now, by the way. However, some have guessed there could be some blocks of movement, offense, tasks, and other things. This does build into something we'll talk about in just a minute with some new teaser trailers and reveals as well. Now, one concern I do think players have going into this new sort of gameplay change is how complicated the system is going to be. New players will have to learn a lot if they want to go down the custom script route, but this new automation update could be easy for new players to understand. I say that, even current players for example, as I don't know scripting and would probably prefer something like this. Ease of access and the not super technical approach could help new players use this AI and event controller to its fullest potential, and ultimately that's what Keen want as developers. You want all your player base to be able to use something you're spending a lot of time on, and this update is taking time. Another tease was shared earlier in November. It was November 12th actually. Perhaps Keen knew that was my birthday. Anyway, the tease revealed an attack drone making some sort of run against an enemy ship. As you can see on screen in game, the message displays starting attack run. Therefore the drone ship proceeds to start its run at the enemy, firing its weapons. Now the teaser reveals the menu options for one of these new blocks, but some of it is blurred so we're not being shown all of it. It's an option that tells the ship what distance to break off the attack and what distance to retreat at. Just think, you can have a mothership that launches these drones to attack a single target, all with different preset variables that when to break off and when to retreat. This is what I mean when I say it's a big game change update for Space Engineers that's coming up. These AI blocks control various things in game and can influence the grids they're attached to. Thanks to a preview from community media producer Zockley and Marek Rosa on a livestream, we're aware of the AI move flight and AI task basic blocks. These can influence the grids they're attached to. Now given this caught mentioned as basic and the names attached to it, I'm going to assume there might be some sort of advanced block upgrade or something or some different version. Else I'm not really sure, but again without update notes or like anything to go off, we don't really know what these blocks fully do just yet. We're theorizing and speculating. Another reason why you should comment down below what you think this does, by the way. Currently we've only seen these AI blocks on small grids, though I find it hard to imagine that they'd only be limited to small grids. So let's relax and wait until we see the update before we panic.
One of the cool things about this update is going to be is how easy it will be to set up stuff. Now, a lot of things, people have done a lot of things with drones and mods and scripts and all kinds of things. But this is basically making it so it's very easy to actually set these guys up.
Now, thankfully, Joel answers one of my questions in that live stream clip. He says it'll be easy for players to set up these new drones or, their various grids. The drone follows the player around with a quick change of a menu option in the terminal. No longer is it just going back to home as Joel originally set it, it's now following the player. I had this idea. You could set up a camera drone to follow you around, or little drone spotlights for shining lights as you mine or explore a dark area on the planet. Already, I bet you in the comments are coming up with ideas. If you are, let me know, as I'm very curious what people think they could do with these blocks. For myself, I definitely want to have some big mobile land grid and then send out my crew of miners and then the cargo pods bring it back to the grid while we keep driving around. Because that way you could have like almost, think of like home or deserts of Karak in a way. You could have these big base runner grids or like a helicarrier or land carrier and then all these mini grids that go out and mine, return to a refinery ship and do their own thing. That could be really, really fun. And I'm just thinking right now of all the stuff we could pull off inside of Space Engineers for an update when that comes around. Let's recap quickly as I might have lost you. We've seen the AI task and the AI move block. We can presume one might be called AI attack based on the preview clip for the hostile drones. However, we also have the event controller block. Might this be some sort of mass switch for all of these? Perhaps a way to configure all of them together of some sort. Currently, I don't know. I'm just speculating what's going on when the game, what is shown so far. We have to wait until the update lands in-game. Just before that, let's talk about the event controller block. Now, I imagine the event controller block might work similar to how a sensor block of things work in-game already. So if we look at the clip that was shown off just recently of a driller rig, perhaps it's, when cargo container X, aka ore, reaches full capacity, drone will then take off and return to the grid and connect there and dump ore, for example, or eject ore. Now, I'm not going to be sure how advanced these event controllers are, because as we know for a minute, connectors are the main way to transfer a thing between grids like this. I wonder if it's going to teach these ships how to use the connectors, or it's going to be a case of having to use ejectors as well. It's not the end of the world when we look at it, but it will make things a little bit more complicated. So again, it is a case of waiting to see until this update rolls around. Speaking of that, I know many of you are eager for the next SE update. I am as well. We're currently just about to pass through November, and there is no sign of it yet, but Keen are teasing it, therefore suggesting it might be coming very soon. Potentially in the next couple of weeks, maybe a nice holiday season surprise before we go into the Christmas holidays, or however you celebrate that around the world. That could be really cool, because then we'd have a new update to play over the Christmas period. I'd quite like that. I think it could be quite fun. But again, it does depend on how well the developers are doing, and any complications that are currently popping up in-game. Hopefully we'll see some more announcements soon, maybe in the next couple of weeks. I'd really like it to be in December. It's in that sort of holiday and Christmas style feeling. I think that could be quite fantastic. Either way, let me know what you think of this update down below in the comment section. I really do stand by my point, it's going to be a big change for Space Engineers. No longer you can use complex scripts that some players really struggle to set up. A lot of game servers have public scripts banned completely. This block potentially could be limited more and therefore not have as bad of an impact on a server, say as some sort of like scripts do. No disrespect to people who make those scripts, by the way. I use some, they're fantastic, but you can't deny that some out there, some, do use a lot of resources and therefore slow things down. Particularly those big inventory sorters, but they're few and far between. However, these new blocks, you could potentially automate things in a more in-game level without using external scripts as well, and therefore it might flow a little bit better performance-wise. We're of course all conscious of performance in Space Engineers, so keep that in mind. Alright everyone, I've been Captain Jack. Do let me know what you think down below in the video comment section, because I'm really curious what you think of this incoming update, as I'm really liking the look of it. Alright, let me know, hit that subscribe button, I'll see you next time.